Welcome back to the deep dive. I want to start today with a question for you. When was the last time you really truly described someone?
Oh, that's a good one.
And I don't just mean, pointing them out in a crowd like, oh, the tall guy over there. I mean really painting a picture.
Like when you get home from a party and someone asks who was there.
Exactly. Or you're debriefing a bad date with a friend. We do it constantly, right? We're storytelling creatures.
We are. We parse the world by categorizing the people in it.
We do. But here's the problem I keep running into, and I'm so guilty of this. We default to these incredibly boring basics.
He was big. She looked mad.
Yes, it's like we have this massive box of crayons, all these specific shades of meaning, and we just keep using the broken nub of a gray pencil.
That is a very evocative image. And you're right. The sources we have on the desk today are all about upgrading that toolkit.
Okay.
We've pulled from some advanced linguistic study materials that focus entirely on the nuance of describing people. Their appearance, their complexion, their mannerisms.
And just to set the stakes here, because we always like to ask, so what? Why does it matter if I call someone thin versus, I don't know, slender?
Because precision shapes perception. That's the core of it.
Right.
The English language it's notoriously tricky because it doesn't just describe the physical reality. It describes the vibe.
A vibe, yeah.
You call someone slender, you're complimenting them.
Yeah.
You call that same person scrawny, you're basically insulting them.
Yeah.
Even if they weigh the exact same.
Right. Words have baggage. So the mission today is to unpack that baggage. We're going to look at size and build.
Then we've got a great case study.
Yes, this gossip case study about a guy named Rob Parsons. Don't worry, he's fictional. And then we'll hit facial expressions and body language.
It's a full scan, head to toe.
Let's start with physical build. And honestly, thinness feels like the biggest minefield. You really have to get that one right.
You really do. The sources break it down into a few very specific flavors. You mentioned slender just now.
Yeah. To me, slender sounds like something from a novel. She had a slender neck. It feels fancy.
It is fancy. The definition provided is thin in an attractive way.
Attractive.
It implies elegance, a kind of grace. Think of a ballerina or a high fashion model. There's a fragility to it, but it's a desirable fragility.
Okay, so if I'm trying to be nice, I use slender. Now, what happens if I slip up and use, say, scrawny?
Oh, well then you've definitely left the realm of compliments.
Definitely.
Scrawny is defined as unattractively thin and bony looking.
Bony looking. Wow, that's a very specific visual.
It is. It really is. It creates a sense of, well, maybe malnutrition or just weakness.
Like they need a sandwich immediately.
Exactly. The example sentence in the text is, he was too scrawny to be a football player. It implies a lack of necessary substance.
Okay, so that's weight. What about height? I have a buddy who is super tall, very thin, but he is just completely uncoordinated.
A hazard.
A total hazard to himself and everyone around him. If he walks into a room, something is going to break.
We have the perfect words for that specific mechanic. The sources highlight lanky and gangling.
Lanky. I feel like I used that one. He's a lanky guy.
It's a good word. It means very tall and thin, but, and this is the key part, usually moving awkwardly.
Right.
It suggests their limbs are just a little too long for their brain to manage perfectly.
And gangling. Is that just the same thing?
It's very, very similar. Tall, long arms, long legs, awkward movements. But there's a really interesting usage note here.
Oh.
It points out that gangling is most often used for men and boys.
Really? So you wouldn't call a tall, awkward woman gangling?
You could. I mean, linguistically, it's not wrong, but it's much less common. Gangling evokes that specific image of a teenage boy who grew 6 inches over the summer.
And hasn't quite figured out where his feet are yet.
That's it. That puppy face, big paws, tripping over everything. That is the energy of gangling.
I love that English has a specific word for puberty awkwardness. Okay, let's flip it. Describing larger builds, this is where people get really nervous, right?
They do. We tend to whisper these descriptions, and the vocabulary reflects that.
Where do we start?
The source starts with the most clinical term, obese. It notes this is for someone who is very fat in an unhealthy way.
Yeah.
But it really emphasizes this is a medical or a study context term.
Right. You don't lean over to your friend at a bar and say, check out that obese guy.
No.
It sounds like you his doctor. It's too cold.
It pathologizes the body. So if you want to be descriptive without being clinical, the source offers stout.
Stout. I have to be honest, every time I hear stout, I think of a teapot. Short and stout.
That nursery rhyme has done a lot of heavy lifting for that word.
Yeah.
But yes, stout describes a quite large, solid body. It's used for men and women.
So it feels Grounded, sturdy.
Exactly, like a tree trunk. And then, often confused with stout, is stocky.
I use these interchangeably. Is there actually a difference?
There's a key geometrical difference.
Okay.
Stout implies a general heaviness. Stocky specifically refers to someone who is short, with a body that is wide across the shoulders and chest.
Ah, so the width is the defining feature.
Right, the source gives a great visual for this. My grandfather was a stocky man with big hands and broad shoulders.
Okay, I can see him. He's the guy you call when you need to move a refrigerator. He's not tall, but he's built like a brick wall.
Exactly. Stocky implies functional strength. It's compact power, whereas stout is just solid.
This is great. I'm going to use this correctly now. Moving on, I want to get to this case study. I think narrative is the best way to really learn this stuff.
The gossip protocol.
Yes. The material includes a set of emails between two friends, Beth and Jessica, talking about an old college friend named Rob Parsons.
And poor Rob.
He is getting absolutely roasted, or at least dissected. It's a thorough examination. Beth bumps into Rob after years, and the email is just filled with this rich, descriptive vocabulary.
So what does Rob look like now?
Well, the first thing Beth notices is that his body composition has totally shifted. She says he is really bulked up.
Bulked up. That's a gym term, right?
It is. It means he's increased in body size specifically by gaining muscle. It implies intention. You don't bulk up by accident.
No, you bulk up by lifting heavy things.
And she contrasts this with the old Rob. She says he used to be lean and wiry.
Lean is pretty standard thin and healthy. But wiry is such a great texture word.
Wiry. Makes me think of cable.
That's the image. Thin but strong. Not an ounce of fat, but high tensile strength, like a rock climber.
So Rob went from a rock climber to a linebacker. But Beth isn't just looking at his muscles, she's looking at his grooming. And this is where she drops a word I love. Unkempt.
He looks unkempt. Untidy, scruffy.
Messy hair, wrinkled shirt.
Right, it implies a lack of care. But here's the thing, the linguistic nugget that it blew my mind in this source. The word kempt.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually exist.
Wait, what? No.
In standard modern English, you cannot be kempt. It's what linguists call an unpaired negative.
That is bizarre.
We kept the insult unkempt, but
Lost.
we lost the positive version.
So I can be messy, but I can't be. Whatever the opposite is.
You can be smart or neat or tidy, but you can't be kempt. You wouldn't say, wow, your hair looks very kempt today.
I kind of want to start saying that now. You are looking aggressively kempt.
It would definitely turn heads.
So Rob is unkempt, but Beth, being the thorough observer she is, she compares him to his sister, and the sister is the polar opposite.
Of course. The sister is described as having never a hair out of place.
Which is the universal code for perfectionist.
And she wears immaculate clothes?
Immaculate. Wow, that is a heavy hitter. That's not just clean.
No. Immaculate means in perfect condition.
I know.
It comes from the Latin for without spot. It suggests a level of care that borders on obsessive.
If you're immaculate, you probably don't sit on the grass.
You do not.
Right. Okay, so now let's talk complexion. Because Beth uses two words here that I feel like I only ever see in 19th century literature.
Swarthy and sallow.
Yes. She describes Rob as having a swarthy complexion. It sounds like a pirate.
It usually carries that rugged connotation. It refers to dark-colored skin, often implying that it's weather-beaten or tanned from being outdoors.
So he's bulked up, he's unkempt, and he's swarthy. He is giving off castaway vibes.
He is. And you contrast that with his sister. Beth says her complexion was sallow.
Sallow. Just saying the word feels kind of icky.
It's not a compliment. Sallow means yellowish. It implies a lack of health, a lack of vitality.
That look you get when you haven't seen the sun in weeks.
Or you're recovering from the flu.
Exactly.
And then Beth drops the final judgment on Rob's face. She says he looked a bit haggard.
Haggard? That is such a powerful descriptor. It doesn't just mean tired.
No. Tired is, I need a coffee.
Yeah.
Haggard is, I have seen things.
It's the deep lines, the dark circles.
It implies that exhaustion has actually changed the structure of the face.
Yeah.
The source suggests he's probably working too hard. But haggard carries a weight of real suffering.
So poor Rob. He's huge, messy, dark-skinned, and looks exhausted. It's a very specific picture. You couldn't get that from just saying he looked rough.
No, rough is vague. Unkempt, swarthy, and haggard is a police sketch.
Let's move up to the face. Expressions. Because the source makes a really good point that a smile isn't just a smile.
And a frown isn't just a frown. The mouth is so expressive. The source highlights grinning, which is easy, a big smile. But then it dives into pouting,
Pouting. Now, I feel like this word has an identity crisis.
It absolutely does. The text explains that pouting has two distinct meanings, depending entirely on the context.
Okay.
Definition 1 is positioning your lips in an attractive way. The sex symbol, pout.
The Instagram influencer face.
Precisely. It's meant to be alluring.
Ah.
But definition 2 is positioning your lips in a look of annoyance, petulance.
Like a toddler who was told they can't have ice cream.
Exactly. And it's physically the same face, but the signal is completely different. One says, come here. The other says, I'm ignoring you.
That is a dangerous ambiguity if you misread it.
It would be a significant social error.
Let's look at the negative expressions, the I don't like this faces. We've got grimace and scowl.
People confuse these, but they're functionally different. A grimace is a reaction.
Okay.
It's an expression of pain or strong dislike. The example is, you don't have to grimace every time I eat raw garlic.
I love that. You can picture it. The nose crinkles, the mouth pulls back. It's involuntary. Ew.
Exactly. It's a reflex. A scowl, on the other hand, is a state of mind. It is a bad-tempered, angry look.
So a grimace is instantaneous. I stepped on a Lego. A scowl is sustained. I am mad at the world.
Yes. You can scowl for an entire meeting. You probably can't grimace for an hour.
Good point. And then there's the word that I think is the most useful red flag in the English language, leering.
This is a heavy word, and it's so important to know it. The definition is looking in an unpleasant, sexually interested way.
It's the unpleasant part that does all the work there.
It is. The example is, he was leering at us. I felt very uncomfortable and wanted to leave.
See, that's why precision matters. If you just say, he was looking at us, that's neutral. But if you say, he was leering, you are communicating a threat.
It validates the instinct. It tells the listener, this wasn't friendly curiosity. This was a boundary violation. It gives you permission to trust your gut.
It's a warning signal encoded in a verb. Okay, let's finish up with the full body language.
The silent signals, the tells, if you will. The source categorizes these into passive and active.
Passive being things like shrugging.
Yes. Lifting the shoulders to show ignorance or indifference, I don't know. And then the barrier signals, folded arms or crossed legs.
The classic I am waiting pose, or I am defensive.
Right. It creates a physical wall. It says, I am here, but I am closed for business.
But the active mannerisms, the ones that signal nervousness or anger, those really tell a story.
Absolutely. For nervousness, the source gives us twitching, suddenly making small movements.
If you're in a job interview and the candidate is twitching, you know the adrenaline is spiking.
And the other classic anxiety habit, biting nails.
That one is so visual, it's like you're trying to consume your own stress.
It signals a loss of composure. Now, contrast that with anger. Nervousness is erratic, but anger is tight.
We have clenched fist.
Closing the hand tightly, that is a threat display.
It indicates prepared aggression or suppressed rage. Even if they're smiling, if that fist is clenched, the body is preparing for a fight.
And finally, for the people who just want to get out of there, tapping or drumming fingers.
So quick, light-hitting movements. It's a metronome for impatience. It says, you are moving slower than my brain is working.
I am definitely guilty of the finger drum.
We all are. But think how much better your storytelling becomes. Instead of saying he was nervous, you say he was twitching and biting his nails.
Show, don't tell.
Exactly. It lets the listener do the math.
So we've covered a lot of ground. We've gone from scrawny to stocky, unkempt to immaculate, pouting to leering. It's a lot of vocabulary.
It is, but it's a toolkit for reality.
And I think the big takeaway for me is just how much information is packed into these single words. Right. When you choose a word, you're choosing a lens. Haggard isn't just tired, it's a medical assessment. Leering isn't just looking, it's a safety assessment.
It forces us to be more observant, doesn't it? If I want to use the word stocky, I have to actually look at someone's shoulders. I have to pay attention.
That is the beauty of it. Expanding your vocabulary forces you to expand your observation skills. You can't describe what you haven't noticed.
I want to leave everyone with a thought that we touched on earlier because it's still bothering me. The unkempt versus kempt thing.
The mything word.
It makes me wonder, does our language bias us towards noticing the negative? We have a specific word for messy and scruffy, unkempt, but we don't have a specific word for just generally tidy.
No, we don't.
We have immaculate, which is extreme, but the middle ground is just silence.
It's a profound observation. We tend to name the problems. We name the twitching, the scowling, the slouching, when someone is just sitting calmly, looking normal.
Yeah.
We don't really have a rich vocabulary for that.
Maybe that's the challenge for next time. Try to describe the people who aren't standing out, the people who are just kempt.
I'm fully in support of bringing kempt into the lexicon.
Let's make it happen. You look incredibly kempt today. Use that on your friends, see what happens.
They will probably look at you with a scowl.
Or a grimace. All right, that is a wrap for this deep dive. Go out there, observe your world, and paint some better pictures.
See you next time.
Bye, everybody.